So tell me, Walter, what is it you want to work on today? Last time you worked on releasing anger towards your dad. And did you speak to him this week?
I did, and I told him how I told him that exactly what you told me.
Which is what?
I told him that I am so grateful to have him as my dad, and so grateful for all the changes that he made to his personal life to keep the whole family together. That I know that it wasn't easy to let go of all behaviors for him, but I recognize that all the hard work that he's done, and I know that you love me and you love us so much that you are willing to do that. And he's like, I'm so proud of you, and and it was like it wasn't just me. It sort of like my sisters, also everyone was able to realize that we never really acknowledge the great things, the good things that they've done. At least I tended to focus on what was missing, and so every time I think of my dad, there's only love and compassion. Only love and compassion.
Yeah, that's not what I told you, Walter. That's what you told you from the subconscious realm. All of this is stuff that you knew. I mean, you got the lessons.
Yeah.
You derived the lessons, and I just enabled you to access what was there, because that is what resonated with you as the truth at the deepest part of you, and that's what you were able to surface in our last session.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's great. So let's keep talking about anger then, and make sure that it's completely gone. So, can you remember any event of the past where you used to be able to feel that old emotion of anger towards anybody, you know, and including yourself?
Yeah, there are two occasions. One was when
Okay.
I knew that I could only rely on my mom,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that I knew that she was gonna be there for me, and I knew that she was gonna get home from work at this time, specific time, between 2 and 3. That was usually the time she would get back home, and that one day she didn't come home, and I was freaking out. I called my auntie. They haven't heard from my mom. I called her work. She left work already earlier than normal, and I was like, she left work earlier than normal, but she hasn't arrived. So I was already thinking the worst. And it was like about 8 o'clock, I remember, and I hear someone knocking at the door. I go open the door, upset. I was mad. I was like, and also scared. And it was my mom, and I was mad at my mom because why did you do this? Where did you go? Like, I felt betrayed. That's what I felt. I felt betrayed by my mother. Like, what were you doing? Like you were not thinking about your family, your ass. But she was crying. And I've never seen my mom crying that much, and that threw me off. It threw me off, and I wanted to know who made my mom cry. I was so mad and so much anger inside of me because I didn't know who made my mom cry, and I wanted to find out so I can do something about it. And then she brought me to her room, and I sat right next to her, and she told me the reason why she was crying was because her friend told her that she had seen my dad with another woman, and my mom wanted to make sure. She wanted to verify it, And so she went to where she was told my dad was, and she drove. She didn't drive. She took a taxi to that place, and that's where she saw my dad with another woman, and I didn't know how to react. I just knew that I was gonna. I wanted. I have so much anger at that moment towards my dad. Like my dad and my mom cried that I wanted to kill my dad at that moment. I was so angry. Like, why would you do this? Like, why would you do this to us? Why would you do this to my mom? And but the worst part was that I knew my dad had an affair.
You knew from before?
I knew from before. Since I was a little kid, my dad would take me out to hang out. We would go out, and he introduced me to a woman.
So you didn't just feel anger, you felt guilt.
I feel guilt.
Because you knew.
I knew that when I was a kid, we would go hang out, just my dad and myself, and he introduced me to this woman, and he said, "This is my friend, but don't tell your mom."
Mm.
And I knew something was wrong. Why do I have to keep this secret? And it was always like that. Every time we would hang out, she would show up and keep it as a secret. Don't tell your mom.
So were you angry with yourself then?
I was angry. Yeah, I was angry because I was able to hold that secret for so long and he couldn't. And from that moment, I made this connection that if I am in a relationship, I cannot have female friends. That if I had a female friend, then it's cheating.
Even if it's a friend.
Even as a friend, yeah. And that's been haunting me since I was a little kid. I could not, just the thought of being with someone, having a girlfriend, and the thought of like me talking to another girl that is just a female friend, it felt wrong. And it felt like, oh, if I'm talking to a girl, that's going to lead to infidelity. That's going to lead to cheating on her. And the same when the other way around. Like if my girlfriend had a male friend, I felt like, oh, she's cheating on me.
Okay.
And that affected the way I conduct myself in a relationship. And that brought me a lot of that really didn't, if I feel so guilty. I feel so like I feel that.
So let me ask you something. So is there anger present in all of that for you? Is there anger towards your mother for not coming home at 2 p.m. and instead showing up very late at night? Is there anger present for you there towards your mother? If you're being honest.
No anger.
Okay.
No.
Is there anger towards your dad? Or did we release that the last time?
We released that last time.
Okay. So is there anger towards yourself for not disclosing what you knew? Or are you pleased that you were able to keep the secret for as long as you were able to keep it?
I was pleased.
Okay. So, is it all right to release this belief today that it's not okay to have a female friend, that it will always lead to infidelity because that was the situation with your dad? Is it all right to release that?
It is all right.
It's all right with your unconscious mind, and you'll be aware of it consciously. So, float over your timeline, over the past, to that moment in time where you decided that it wasn't okay to have a friend who is female? Would you like to have female friends? And I'm not saying that you would spend a lot of time with these people, but just releasing any kind of guilt associated with any time you spend with female friends.
Yes, I would like to.
Is this inhibiting your life? Is this in some way creating angst for you now, Walter?
It is, because I have to keep it as a secret.
Do you have female friends that are just friends that you don't tell your girlfriend about just because you're afraid of what she might think, which is really, of course, your own projection
Yes,
of what it means?
yes.
What do you want it to mean, Walter? What would you rather believe? What would make you at peace with having a female friend? What belief do you want to have?
I want to believe that it's okay for me to have female friends without the worry that I'm gonna make her that she's gonna find out and think that I am cheating on her.
Okay.
I don't want to have to worry about it.
Okay. Is it all right to release the guilt associated with that?
Yes, it is all right.
So do you think that in some way you may have somehow absorbed your father's guilt? He was the one who committed the act, but you were kind of complicit in it because you knew. And so you felt the guilt as though you had actually done the betraying. Is that right?
Yeah.
Does it resonate?
Yeah.
So float over this event and ask your unconscious mind what it needs to learn from this event. The learnings of which enable you to release the guilt associated with your knowing and not saying anything, and the feeling that you have also somehow committed this act of betrayal towards your mother. What's a lesson that enables you to release the guilt, first of all, that you did not tell her? When you knew?
I just wanted to keep the family together. I didn't want to be the reason. I didn't want to be the reason why there are more issues in the family.
And you didn't want to create hurt for her,
Yes.
because the feeling was what she didn't know wouldn't hurt her, right?
Right.
And then when she found out, you saw the hurt. And then maybe it was like, well, if I'd had told her, she wouldn't have experienced this level of devastation now. Does any of that resonate?
Yeah.
Okay, so ask your unconscious mind what it needs to learn from this. The learnings of which enable you to release that guilt.
I was only doing my best. I don't need to feel guilty for what happened. It wasn't my fault.
That's right.
I'm not responsible for what my dad did.
That's
And I
right.
don't need to feel guilty for having friends, female friends.
So go before the event, before the chain of events that led to that event, and ask your unconscious mind, is that guilt there for not telling your mom? Or not, because you were a child. How old were you, Walter?
I was 5.
You were 5. You were 5. And you kept that secret for so many years until this came out in the open at what age? 12?
Yes.
Wow, that's a heavy burden for a child, isn't it, Walter?
Mm-hmm.
And it creates unnecessary conflict for a child. And your dad was doing the best job he could with the resources he had available to him. Emotional, physical, financial, spiritual. And you were doing the best job you could. to cope. And in doing so, you kept your secret. You kept a promise so that you didn't hurt your mother. So where's the guilt, Walter? Is it there or has it disappeared? Because you were acting out of loyalty to your mother, weren't you? Because you didn't want to hurt her.
Yeah. And I didn't hurt. I didn't hurt anyone.
You were not the one who hurt her. That's right. That's right. And so, float before this event again and come back over it now. And I want to ask you to ask your unconscious mind what it needs to learn from this, the learnings of which enable you to release that old belief that it's not okay to have female friends, that bad things would always come out of that. What's a lesson you get now as the adult? And face the past as you're looking down, 38-year-old man looking down at the scene, float really high up. You see a child, a 5-year-old, deciding that it's not okay to have female friends. What's the lesson you get that frees you from that belief that's actually hurting you today?
I don't need to hide my female friends from my partner because I'm not doing anything wrong with them.
That's right. You're an honest person, Walter, who is loyal. And you have a ton of integrity. You're not your dad. You are Walter. And you can trust in yourself, can't you?
That's right.
Yeah. You can trust your own word. And people will believe you or they won't, Walter. And if they don't take you at your word, is that your problem?
No.
No. You can't control other people. You can only control yourself, Walter.
Yeah.
And so, go before this event and ask your unconscious mind, can you have friends who are female and know that they are just friends to you?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. And go down inside this event. You're 5 years old now, looking through your own eyes. You knew from somehow in the interaction with your father and this woman that they were more than friends, didn't you?
Yes.
You intuitively knew that.
Yes.
Yeah. And you also know that you can trust yourself, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So where's that fear now? Where's that fear of having female friends, of not being able to control yourself with them? Is it there or has it disappeared?
There's no fear.
There's no fear. So go before the event, before the chain of events that led to that event, and come back to now, above your timeline, as quickly as you can. Release that fear that you're not going to be able to control yourself with other women, and that having female friends is dangerous. And instead know that you are in control of yourself and your life. And I want you to notice at least 3 events that might have turned out differently had you known then what you know now. And as you come back to now, you bring with you this truth that you have discovered now. That you are an honorable person. That your father's infidelities did not taint you. It did not impact you, did not affect you. It wasn't about you. Your father's infidelities were never about you, Walter. You were just a child. And you were there. And circumstances don't define you, Walter. You define you. All the way back to now. As you define yourself as the honorable person that you are, with a great deal of integrity. All the way back to now. And when you're ready, come down into now and into the room and open your eyes when you're here. How's that?
Yeah, I don't need to feel guilty about having girlfriends, female friends. Like, why do I feel like I'm doing something wrong? I need to hide it so, like, it's like, it eats me alive.
And how does it feel now? Imagine you're talking to a female friend.
I gotta be open from the beginning. I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, I don't need to keep them. It doesn't, whether you believe me or not, whether you think that I am my word means what I meant. I know who I am. I know that I am honest, and if you believe me, it's fine, and if you don't, it's still fine. Like, I'm not responsible for that.
Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to take a sip of water. I'll grab it for you. You can leave it close by. We'll break the state for a minute. Are you still processing?
Yeah.
Tell me what your thoughts are.
My thoughts are how that has been affected my. It's holding a secret inside.
Mm-hmm.
Holding, not only is his secret, but now it's my secret.
Notice where you're touching.
Yeah.
When you say you're holding it inside.
Yeah.
And you had been obviously suffering the consequences of Crohn's disease. Gut upset.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah. It's holding a secret that now it became my secret, and I need to keep it as a secret too with my partner.
So you were still keeping the secret?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And that's a lot of energy to make everything work so she doesn't find out.
That is, you know what's so interesting is you made a promise to your dad to keep the secret, and that just shows how much integrity you have. For all this time, you've been keeping that secret. And then it transferred into your own relationships and your own secret.
Yeah.
And none of it was really ever real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that also affects the way I conduct with my partner, because every time she wants to hang out with her male friends, I feel like, yeah, right, male friends, you're having an affair.
Yeah.
And that creates that shows insecurity, how insecure I am about myself. That also shows her that I don't trust her. And I never understood that is because what I believe that, or what I thought it was how things are. If you have a friend, it's gonna become an affair.
Yeah. You created a belief that a friend is more than a friend,
Yeah.
always.
Uh-huh.
Because as a child, you wanted to believe your dad that she was a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And intuitively you knew it was more than that. Children know everything, Walter. They have a sixth sense. And then we learn as we grow older to push it down so we don't use it and we don't have access to it. But kids have that. And so you listened to your dad, you believed him, she's a friend, but something inside of you said it's more than that. And so there was this conflict.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I want to ask you, can you remember any event in the past where you used to feel that old feeling of either guilt? Let's just talk about guilt for having a female friend. Can you feel it still or not?
No, there's no
Okay.
guilt anymore.
Okay, I want to ask you about feelings of jealousy then, related to your girlfriend having male friends. Can you feel it?
No, there's no jealousy.
Are you
There's-
sure?
I'm very sure.
Yeah.
It's not my responsibility. I'm not responsible. I'm only responsible for me. If I said that I have a female friend, and I'm a very honorable man, then that's what matters because that's what I have control over. I have no control over to what she's gonna do. But if I have this expectation already that says like, yeah, she's gonna cheat on me, then there's the jealousy, the insecurity kicks in. But that's removed. Like I have no control over that, and that's not because she has a male friend. She's gonna cheat on me, and even if she does, I have no control over
That's
that.
right. That's the bottom line. That's right. It's a serenity prayer all over again. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And so you accept that you cannot change her behavior now or ever, and you can control yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And wanting to control all that has been bothering me. It's like it's a secret. It's a huge thing to hold inside.
It's
And
amazing.
I relinquish that. I don't need that shit. Yeah, no, it's not.
Perfect. So now let's future pace it, Walter, to some time in the future, any time, where something like that could happen in the future where you have a female friend or your girlfriend has a male friend. I want you to imagine moving out into time, and I want to ask you, are those negative emotions of either jealousy or guilt there or not? So imagine you're floating over your timeline to some future time, unspecified time in the future where she might say, oh, I'm just hanging out with a friend. And it
I
happens.
still feel a little bit of, now when I see my girlfriend with another man, with another male friend, I feel a little bit of insecurity, like there's a chance that she's going to cheat on me.
Okay. Is it all right to release that fear today? For you to be aware of it consciously.
Yes.
So if you were to know what is the root cause of that fear of insecurity, that someone's going to leave me, or that I'm not good enough, if you were to know, is it before, during, or after your birth?
Can you say that again?
If you were to know, what is the root cause of that fear? If you were to know, is it before, either in a past life or genealogically, during, in the womb, or after your birth in this lifetime? What's the root cause of that fear that someone's going to leave me?
In this lifetime.
At what age?
I want to say 10.
Okay, so float over your timeline, over the past, to the time you're 10 years old. Let me know when you're there.
Yeah.
We'll float directly above this event, and ask your unconscious mind what it needs to learn from this event, the learnings of which enable you to release that fear. Someone's going to leave you. And you're able to move forward without it. And describe what you're looking at, Walter. What is the scene you're recreating in your mind now? What are you seeing?
I can see myself in the kitchen against, sort of like against the door, and I think I didn't behave well, and it's my mom telling me that she's gonna leave me.
Mm-hmm.
That if I don't behave well, she's gonna leave me, and that was like the worst thing that she could ever say to me. That was so hurtful that I'll start crying, and I'll get on the floor and just cry, like, please don't leave me, please. Like, she knew that would hurt me, and she knew that was the only way I could behave, and she would use that. And
so ask your unconscious mind what it needs to learn from this event, Walter, the learnings of which enable you to release the fear that someone's going to leave you for no reason, really, for not very good justification. What's the lesson you get that frees you from that fear that someone's going to leave you? And it may be a lesson you've already gotten.
yeah,
What do you see as you float above this?
that I'm not in control. She can leave. It's her decision, and somehow I will figure it out by myself. That I have the resources to take care of myself and others when put in a situation like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't do anything to deserve that, to be treated that way by someone that I love so dearly.
Yeah. You can't worry about things you can't impact. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I worry way too much.
Yeah. And guess where that worry goes, Walter?
To my guts.
Exactly. So go before that event, before the chain of events that led to that event, and ask your unconscious mind, is that fear there, or has it disappeared because you realize that fear doesn't prevent other people from doing whatever they're going to do? It only hurts you. Fear does nothing except make you miserable. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Is the fear there, or
No.
has it disappeared?
There is no fear.
Now go down inside the event and check on it with your own eyes. Imagine you are that 10-year-old boy looking through your own eyes. And your mother says, if you do that, I'm going to leave you. First of all, you know she won't, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, you realize that if she ever wanted to, there wouldn't be one thing in the world you could do to stop her. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Feel your body relaxing, Walter, and surrendering to the universe. What will be, will be. You may not even be able to recall, or maybe you can, what it is that you did that made her upset. But you know that you will try to never make her upset by doing that same thing again. And that's all you can do. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
And what a 10-year-old does, it's whatever you would have done, Walter, it wasn't really terrible, was it?
No.
Let me make it a little more comfortable here. How's that? Okay. So, where's that fear, Walter? Is it there, or has it disappeared?
No, it's gone. Now I can see better.
So go before that event, before the chain of events that led to that event, and come back to now above your timeline as quickly as you can. Release all of the fear that people are going to leave you, women in particular, women you love, all the way back to now. And you may see events rearrange themselves as you come back to now, Walter, and see some of those circumstances. Yeah. Are you back here? Are you back at now?
Yeah, I'm back here.
How was that?
It was great. Yeah, it's always the need to please my mom, the need to please women so they don't leave me, so they can not even leave me, so they can stay with me. I don't need to do any of that. They can leave whenever they choose to.
Yeah. Yeah. So it gives you confidence, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Empowerment.
Yeah.
Feelings of safety and security. Right?
Yeah.
That you're okay.
Yeah, that's where I learned. That's where I learned to behave that way towards women.
Mm.
Do right. Because if you do wrong, I'm going to leave you.
And sometimes you don't know if what you're doing is right or wrong because it seems somewhat arbitrary, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So that leaves you thinking you're doing something wrong all the time.
Yeah, how am I supposed to know that?
That's it. That's it. So then you worry about all the time. And now you don't have to.
Yeah, worry about doing the right thing.
Yeah, you used to. Now you just go with what feels right,
Yeah.
Walter. What else can you do?
That image has been haunting me for so long.
Oh, wow. That's
It's like a
amazing.
threat. My mother was threatening me to leave me. I already lost my dad because he wasn't there, now my mom. I needed to behave a certain way to please her. So she wouldn't leave me. Even though I knew she wouldn't. But
Can
she
you-
could.
Can you take care of yourself, Walter?
I can take care of myself.
You took care of yourself and 4 younger siblings, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And you did a darn good job of it.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. You never knew that you were so strong. You know it now. Seal that in.
Wow. Yeah, it has never been acknowledged to me that I'd never give myself the acknowledgement of how strong I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
This like always like tense.
How are you feeling right now?
Relaxed, more calm.
Good.
I'm not afraid.
Good. Okay. So take a sip of water. We're going to check on that now. What are your thoughts right now, Walter? I want to write them down.
I
Reinforce
felt
them.
like something here, like I wanted to scream, like I was just
Right now you want to scream?
like yeah, like there was like this. My voice has been like sort of like tame, like no, you can't say that, and gotta.
Is it all right to release this fear today
Yeah.
of being expressed? It's it's almost like
I couldn't be myself. I couldn't. I had to be somebody else to please her, so she wouldn't leave me.
Is it all right to release this fear
Yeah.
of being authentically you, Walter?
Mhm.
Does that resonate?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you were to know if was that the root cause, or is there something earlier? This fear that you can't be you. If you were to know what is the root cause of that fear? Was it before, during, or after your birth? And I will always say it in that way. That it wasn't okay to be who you wanted to be.
Yeah. I always had to be somebody else.
So if you were to know, what is the root cause of that? At what age? Or was it before, during,
I
or
want to say 5.
Okay, so float over your timeline, over the past, to this event at 5 years old. Let me know when you're there.
I am there.
Okay, float directly above the event, Walter, and tell me what's going on. What's going on beneath you as you're floating? 38-year-old man floating above this 5-year-old child. Who else is there with you? What's happening?
I'm playing the flute.
And so where's the fear come in?
That I was gonna mess up again, and my instructor was gonna make me do it all over again. And I didn't want to do that, but my parents wanted me to learn how to play the flute, so I was playing the flute for a while already.
So you had to conform to what other people wanted.
Yeah, and I didn't want to play it, and it got to a point where I just couldn't do it anymore, and I'm crying there because it's so hard, I cannot get it right. And I knew that if I mess up, I would start again, and even crying, I had to play the flute.
So ask your unconscious mind what it needs to learn from this event, Walter. The learnings of which enable you to release the fear. The fear that you can't be and have what you want. The fear that you must always conform in order to survive. And that's where you learn to conform also. What's a lesson you get that enables you to release this fear? That you can't be expressed, that you can't be you, that people will make you be something you don't want to be.
I'm sick and tired of that. It's not my... It is in my control now to choose.
Now it is. And that little boy was still inside of you, is still inside of you, and he had that fear, and he didn't know that he grew up, and he doesn't have to be what other people tell him to be anymore. That he can choose his life. That little boy a little boy behaved in a way that enabled him to survive childhood. Right?
Yes.
You could not disagree with your parents. But you grew up and you didn't know it. Now the 30-year-old man can choose his life, can't he?
Yeah.
Without anybody telling you how to live. If you choose to not play the flute, you don't play the flute. You don't have to do what other people want you to do, Walter.
Yeah.
But you didn't realize that until now. Did you?
No.
So, tell me more. What's there for you? You're processing, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that how my feelings were not addressed, how what I really wanted to do were not addressed many times because I was under their control and I was a kid and I didn't have a say.
Right. And no child really does, do they?
Yeah.
So you were just being a kid. And you were being shaped and molded. And so after a short time, by the time you're about 7 years old, you're kind of like fully formed and molded. And then whatever happens afterwards just gets filtered the same way. It goes through that same filter and comes out the same way. I must obey. Or there are dire consequences. That was the belief, right?
Yeah, and that program needs to, it's not serving me, that program is not helping me.
It's gone now. Do you feel that? Do you need to do what other people tell you to do, Walter?
No.
No. Can you be expressed now?
Yeah, now I can.
So go down inside this event. Imagine you are 5, playing the flute. Where's that fear of being expressed? Yeah, your parents want you to play the flute, and so you do. And you do your best, because you know that right now, you live with them and this is what they want you to do. But you know also that very soon you'll grow into an adult and you'll be able to do what you want to do and be fully expressed in doing it. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the fear now? Is it there or has it disappeared?
It has disappeared.
Good. So go before the event, before the chain of events that led to that event, and come back to now, above your timeline, as quickly as you can release all the fears that had prevented you from being fully expressed, Walter, in every way. Feel your throat open up, and whatever you had been carrying there, blow it away. That's it. Gone. Dissipating into the universe where it will never harm you or anyone else again. And when you're ready, let me know when you're back at now.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I feel very authentic.
What does authentic feel like? Tell me and I'll write it down and I'll give you some suggestions.
Liberated. It feels free.
Liberated.
It feels that I can live up to my own standards. It's up to me how I want to live.
Nothing to prove.
Yeah. that I can be myself, like true self. I don't need to behave or portray to be somebody else to please others.
Yeah.
Feels accepted.
It feels what?
Acceptance. Like
Oh,
I'm
acceptance. Acceptance. Perfect. Well, that's a good note to end on. What do you think? And then I'll call Alex in to do,
Okay.
to move the camera, and we'll do a deeper hypnosis, okay?
Okay. Sounds
Um,
good. Yeah, even when I was recently having this sort of like a reminiscence of when I was a kid, and my dad would my dad made a promise that he was gonna come home, or my mom told me that he was spending the night only on the weekends because he's taking care of my grandmother, his mom, and I made peace to that. And so during the week, I knew I had to be the man.
Yeah.
Many times, I knew I had to be the man in the house, and I would dearly wait for the weekend to see him, and he would show up, and everything was great until we got older, and then he stopped coming over on the weekends, and that was so hurtful. Like, that would hurt me so much. Like, I would wake up, and like sometimes I wake up and like be like, oh, he's here, like hear a voice of a man, and I'm like, oh, my dad is here, and that would bring so much peace. Like, I would feel so safe. And then it was Christmas time. Like, we waited for my dad until 12, and he didn't show up, and he showed up late, like 12:30, and drunk. But after the work that we've done, now it's only love and compassion towards him. Like, okay, I understand now. Like, okay, like there's no need for me to have resentment towards you for what you did. However, there's still pain inside of that little Walter. There's still like
Hurt.
Hurt. Yeah.
Is it all right to release the hurt today?
Yeah.
Doctor?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's so hurtful to have to rely on someone and to not come through. Like, if you give me your word, you're gonna be here, and you don't show up. That was so hurtful, because now I knew that. Now I needed to be on alert. Now I needed to be on survival mode. I can now relax now. And it's like, and it wasn't just hurting for me, it was for my brothers and sisters. Like, it's Christmas, like I have such a high expectation for my dad, and like, we're on the table, my mom purposely sat us all on the table with the food. No one is gonna eat until your dad arrives. And like, you don't show up at 12, like, that was so messed up. And I'm like, okay, so no resentment, it's his journey. He was doing whatever, love and compassion towards him. But I was hurting so much, and like, I felt so embarrassed, like, for my brothers and sisters. Like, I felt so bad for them too. And like, I felt bad for my mom too, like, she was so disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of man is this that does this to his family? And so, like,
and the thing too, Walter, is you were unable to fix it. You couldn't do anything in that situation to make it better.
Yeah.
So you felt that sort of frustration and shame for yourself that you couldn't help. You couldn't. You were helpless.
Yeah.
You were helpless.
Yeah. I couldn't make it right for him.
Or them.
Yeah.
Is it all right to release this hurt today,
Yeah.
Walter?
Yeah. I want to let it go so bad. I don't want it in my life.
So float over your timeline, over the past, to that event. floating above the scene. You're waiting, and you're feeling the hurt. You're feeling the hurt of your siblings, of your mother. You're so ashamed and so embarrassed that he didn't show up. And you want so badly to be able to do something to help. And there's not a thing that you can do.
So much hope that he would show.
Ask your unconscious mind, Walter, what is the lesson here that frees you from that hurt and that pain? Floating above the scene. Walter, what do you see now that you didn't see when you were a child? You could never have known.
I'm not in control of people's life. I'm not in control of their decisions.
What he did has nothing to do with you, your siblings, or your mother, does it?
No.
It speaks volumes about him.
Yeah.
And that's not to say it's good or it's bad, Walter. It's just tells you a lot about him. He behaved in the way he behaved because that's the best he could have done. That's the best he could do. And you so badly wanted to save them from the hurt. And you couldn't. You couldn't. And now you know, Walter, that although it seemed very personal to you and your family, and from where you sat, from your model in the world, it was unthinkable to let down an entire family like that. But from his model of the world, it was the best he could do. Can you accept that?
Yeah. I accept that.
He did show. He showed a half hour late. But he came. And maybe that in and of itself took a lot of effort for him. We don't know what was inside of his model of the world.
Yeah. And he was drunk too.
Well, that's it too. You already know that he had this disease called alcoholism. And you know that irresponsible behavior can result from that. An erratic behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Because the alcohol controls them. Right? So it is what it is, and it was what it was. Do you think your dad was suffering too?
Yeah.
Alcoholism affects everybody in the family, doesn't it?
It does.
So it wasn't anything personal, was it?
No.
So go before the event, before the chain of events that led to that event. And I want to ask you, where's that hurt? Is it there? Or has it disappeared?
It's disappeared.
So go down inside the event. It's you. How old were you at that time?
I would say 15.
Okay. It's a 15-year-old boy looking through his eyes, looking around at the family, your heart is feeling your siblings, what they want, your mom, and your dad shows up a half hour late, 12:30. Is the hurt there, or has it disappeared because you realize that your expectation was not realistic? Was it, Walter?
No, it wasn't. That's what it was. It was an expectation.
Your expectation was that he was going to behave the way you would behave, because you knew what it meant to your younger siblings and yourself and your mother. It's Christmas. You knew what that meant, and your expectation was that he would also, right?
Yeah.
So the lesson is to adjust your expectation. Right, Walter?
Yeah. Yeah.
So where's the hurt? Is it there? Has it
There's no
disappeared?
hurt. No. I
No
release
hurt?
that expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dad may or may not show up, and it's very probable he will not be on time if he shows up, because that's how it's always been for all the time you've known him. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Since the moment I was born.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's no hurt here. You expect him to be exactly who he had been for as long as you've known him. Right?
Yeah.
So go before the event, before the chain of events that led to that event, and come back to now, above your timeline, as quickly as you can release all of that hurt on all of the events, all the way back to now. And when you're ready, come down into now and into the room, and open your eyes when you're here. How are you?
Wow. How powerful I feel right now to know that at such a young age I had the opportunity to hold this, to be the strong figure in my family. To remove that expectations. Expectations are, I created them for them according to my own values and standards, or what I think is right, or how things should be. And that's just not serving me.
Yeah.
I should be grateful, like replace that with gratitude, grateful that he came home and that he was safe. Something bad could have happened to him.
Yeah, you're accepting him for who he is and who he isn't, Walter. Which is just as powerful.
Yeah.
All right, Walter. So start by taking 3 big, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing in calm and peace and relaxation. And exhaling out anything you no longer need or want. Breathing in peace and serenity. I'm going to start again, Walter, because I want to turn on the music, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I realized that was what was missing when we did our session, too. That's okay.
You can always add music in the background.
I know, but I like to have music when I do hypnosis. It puts me more in a trance.
Yeah, totally.
Can you hear it? I'm wondering maybe I shouldn't play it because I don't have the rights to play his songs. What if it gets on a, you know?
Good point. Also, I noticed that it's very sensitive, the microphone.
Yeah.
And because I have this on my ears, for your clients, you should have them removed. Because I had it on my ears and that it was so loud, the noise, that
Oh, you mean when I just got up now?
Yeah, as soon as you tap into it, like you want to hear it, so you can have an idea.
Oh.
Like the white noise, it's like very, very strong. And so
now is it okay?
no, it's okay. It's from the moment you drop it off, and then you bring it up, and perhaps I think it's your finger that touches the microphone.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
No,
okay. So, I never shot it. All right, Walter. Start by taking 3 big, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing in peace, serenity, and exhaling out anything you no longer need or want. Again, breathing in relaxation and exhaling out any stress, negatives of the days, the weeks, the years. Breathing in calm, tranquility, and exhaling out anything you no longer need. I'm going to count you down, Walter, from 5 to 0, and each count will bring you deeper and deeper and deeper into this relaxed state where anything is possible. 5. Feeling your arms loose and limp like a rag doll. 4. Feeling your legs loose and limp like jello. 3. Going down, down, down. As all of the tension is easing out of your body. 2, 1, and 0. Deep sleep. Each and every time, for the purpose of hypnosis, with your permission, I say the words deep sleep. You'll enter into the state or deeper, quickly, calmly. The physical body will relax. Deep sleep. Imagine now, Walter, you're walking in a beautiful forest. It's autumn, and the leaves are all turning color. You hear the sound of leaves crunching beneath your feet. And you look up, and you see the tallest trees all around you. And the leaves are red and orange and yellow and brown. The colors look like a painting. It's so exquisite. If you could see it now, let your pointer finger rise. Sealing that in. This beautiful, lovely forest. Listening to the sounds of nature. Walter, the sounds of silence you can only hear in this forest. Taking a deep breath in, smelling the trees, the leaves, nature. And it's just a beautiful day. And it's just the perfect temperature as you're walking. And you see a pile of freshly fallen leaves on the ground, a carpet of red and orange and yellow and brown. It's so beautiful, and it's piled so high that it just looks like the most comfortable bed you've ever seen. And you walk over to it, Walter, and you lie down on it, and you fall deeper and deeper and deeper. 0, deep sleep. Each and every time, for the purpose of hypnosis, with your permission, I say the words deep sleep. You'll enter this state or deeper, quickly, calmly, and the physical body will relax. Deep sleep. Deep sleep. As you're lying here, Walter, thinking about the fact that you know exactly who you are. You know your character. The level of honesty and integrity through which you conduct your everyday life. And you trust in yourself, Walter. If you trust in yourself, let your pointer finger rise now. Feeling trust in yourself at the deepest part of you. Let your pointer finger rise. If you can feel that, the knowledge that you conduct your life with the utmost integrity. And that's all you can do. You can't control other people, can you, Walter? You can't worry about whether they believe the things you say or don't. Because you know what the truth is. And with this thought, you become more deeply relaxed. Deep sleep, Walter. Because you realize that it's okay to have female friends. And it's okay for your girlfriend to have male friends. Because you trust one another. And most of all, you trust in yourself. If this resonates with you, let your pointer finger rise now. Sealing that in. Feeling the confidence rise within you. Walter, feelings of empowerment so strong, feelings of safety, security. Realizing that you are strong. You've always been strong. Thinking back to when you were 15 years old and really the head of the household in so many ways. The man of the house. How you took care of your siblings, how you took care of your mother. So strong. Even younger than 15, you were doing these kinds of things. Walter, if you know that you can handle anything life may throw your way, let your pointer finger rise now. Sealing in that strength, that inner strength and confidence and courage and knowledge that the authentic you, Walter, is pretty amazing. Really strong. And you will be who you want to be, not who others want you to be. If you know this at the deepest part of you, let your pointer finger rise. You are your own person, Walter. Authentic, liberated, free. There's nothing to prove. You live to your own standards. And from this point forward, you will be your truest self, the best version of you ever. Leading with acceptance and the knowledge that you are powerful. Very, very powerful. Setting your expectations of others realistically, not based on who you want them to be, but on who you know them to be. If you understand the difference, let your pointer finger rise now. Yes. No more disappointments, Walter, because you set your expectations realistically. Accepting people for who they are and not who you want them to be. If this brings you great peace, inner peace and tranquility, let your pointer finger rise now. Sealing that in, Walter. And moving forward, acceptance. Acceptance of everything, surrendering to the universe will be your way of life. Feeling great, great inner peace. In a moment, I'm going to count you up from 1 to 5, and at 5, you'll be wide awake in a totally non-suggestible state. Feeling wonderful, relaxed, yet energetic. But first it's 0, going deeper now, deep sleep. Listen to me carefully now. Tonight, when you put your head on the pillow to go to sleep, you will fall asleep quickly, sleep soundly through the night, awakening in the morning at exactly the time you want to get up, feeling refreshed, alive, and alert. Having had some venting dreams that vent out emotions you no longer need or want. You'll feel powerful, very, very powerful when you wake up. Each and every day. 1, closing the door to the subconscious mind. 2, feeling yourself in the room. 3, deep feelings of joy and gratitude washing over you. 4, feelings of gratitude so great that you want to laugh out loud. And 5, eyes open, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake. How are you?
I feel so rested, and like I feel like my body is kind of heavy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm waking up from a nap.
Mm-hmm.
Like I took a break. Whew.
So for people who don't know what hypnosis is,
Yeah.
how would you describe it?
I describe it as a disconnection between the mind and the body. Like I know I'm still in consciously, but my body just like disconnect, and you're talking to my brain. That's it. My body's just fully like rested, no movement. And my body's just once again like a disconnection. I don't have to worry about my body. It's more like I'm following. You're talking to something inside, and that I'm fully conscious, and I can acknowledge that. Like I can observe that happening, and very little thoughts are arriving. Like there isn't any distraction. It's just your voice and that.
It's being hyper-focused.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Super focused.
Yeah, just to your voice, and your voice is commanding to that like a program, like you're rewriting a software, like that programming in my head is getting rewritten, and then when it's time to come back, you secure that, and then you bring me back, and I'm like, okay, so I'm back to that mind and body connection. Like, oh, okay, I'm back online. Yeah.